We have on dais retired Major Arun Ambathy, a graduate from the prestigious National Defence Academy from Pune. He has served for 7 years in the Parachute Regiment, which is, you guessed it, an elite airborne special forces unit. He has also served in Jammu and Kashmir as part of the counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism grid in some of the harshest terrains known to man. While recovering from his injury during combat, he had a transformative experience, which is quite interesting. I'm sure Sir can explain more about that. And he decided to pursue his new passion for social impact. And he is currently spearheading social ventures for the youth and people with disabilities as a part of Global and Operations Blue Freedom Foundation. Welcome, sir. It's a huge honor to have you in this session from SCS, and you are ready to go on whenever you can.
Okay. So, so these are students from all departments of the
Yes, sir.
college. Yeah.
All year, all departments. Yes, sir.
Okay. It's an open event like that. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning up on a Sunday afternoon. If I was in your position, I wouldn't just turn up for anything on a Sunday afternoon. Just like my time. But yeah, times are changing. The youth is quite proactive, and also technology is enabling things which could not have been possible earlier, right? So, can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can hear me? Perfect. Perfect. So, I'll give you a brief introduction about my background. Like Pranav has already highlighted, I graduated from the National Defence Academy, went to IMA, from there volunteered for the Parachute Regiment, Special Forces, and then served there for 7 years, then got injured, quit, and then I was doing few social impact projects, but then I met Major Vivek Jacob in 2019. So we started working together, and he had started Claw, and I joined him, and so since then we've been working together, right? So the topic today, I chose the topic, because I felt that is very, very relevant, relevant to you guys, um, relevant for what we are trying to achieve, and relevant definitely for the country as well, right? So all of you must have heard about Claw Global a little. I think in one of your previous talk, Major Vivek Jacob had come, right? So you guys all listen to him and understand what Claw Global is all about, and So I'll start with clarifying few things about Claw Global. So Claw Global is a team of ex-special forces soldiers, right? Looking to apply our skill sets and mindset for the betterment of the society. Now, one of the first initiative we picked up is adaptive adventure sports. That is adventure sports as a therapy for people with disabilities, right? Now, that is our initiative called as the Operation Blue Freedom, right? So since we have energized that so much, and we have done a lot of work in that direction, we generally tend to be equated only as an organization that is into adventure sports and helping people with disabilities and so on. But that is not the case. So what is Claw Global? Claw Global is, like I told you in the beginning, it's an organization that is looking to tap the skill sets and mindset of people from the special forces for this, uh, for causing impact in the society, right? So if you look at the skill sets that we have, that is one thing. There is a lot of applications of our skill sets directly, in terms of training people, in terms of skilling people, in terms of adventure sports and so on. But where we really have a clear positive value to contribute to humanity at large and the country as such is basically our mindset. So in the special forces, we have this mindset that we can achieve anything, right? That is something that is triggered during our probation, or it is already existing, which is tested during the probation, right? Now, that is a very, very powerful emotion, a powerful feeling. And it is not a fleeting feeling. All of us at some point, you listen to some motivation lecture or listen to a peppy song or watch a movie, and then you're all pepped up, that I can do anything, but that fades when that is not a conviction after some time. Now, this, when it is drilled into you on an identity level, drilled into you at the level of your core values, then it becomes a part of who you are, where you actually deeply believe that you can actually achieve whatever you can dream of, right? There's a reason why you can dream of certain things, because it is possible to achieve it. Now, that is the conviction which is the fundamental of this mindset, right? Now, this has application everywhere, in all fields of business, in all fields, in anything and everything, this can be applied, right? So, Claw Global is working on various such verticals of activities which can apply this mindset. So you must have heard about the human ability biome that we are developing. Basically, human ability biomes are spaces where people with disabilities can come and rehabilitate. But it also combines the element of R&D and technology targeted at people with disabilities. So basically, adaptive technologies, assistive devices, R&D in biotechnology, R&D in innovation, in prosthetics, innovation in mechatronics, exoskeletons, those kind of things. And the next biggest vertical is, of course, education and skilling for people with disabilities and also for the youth. So basically, human ability biome is the next concept that we are working on after Operation Blue Freedom, where we are combining these elements of research and development, uh, and also technology and innovation, and also education and skilling for people with disabilities and the youth as well, where they can come rehabilitate themselves, but also educate and be part of a innovation ecosystem, while facilitating the fullest expression of whatever is their potential. So that is the human ability biome, which is a space which can catalyze your personal evolution and your personal growth. That is one vertical that we are working on, which is related to tech. The other thing is we are also working on innovation and technology as a standalone thing as well. So, for example, out here in at the moment, as I speak, I'm in Auroville. So, we're working with a lot of technology and innovation companies and researching on solutions using GIS, using drones, using artificial intelligence. And we're working on developing products and solutions for various issues. For example, drone logistics and mapping and a lot of those things. So that is our innovation and tech vertical that we are simultaneously working on. Of course, there are other verticals that we are also simultaneously engaged in. There is media that we are engaged in, and then there is, of course, a whole lot of vertical we are working on for education, so on and so forth. But I would like to draw your attention primarily to what Claw Global is doing with technology and innovation and research and development as well. Because you, as students of IIT, there is a vision that we have where we would like to channelize the youth of this country in a certain direction to achieve not just what they want for themselves, but how to synergize with the larger goals of the country. The country needs a lot of things, humanity at large needs a lot of things. How do we synergize that with what the country needs? you know so, given our background in the armed forces and particularly in the special forces, so within the armed forces, special forces get the best of the equipment and the technology. Now, that gives us a certain mindset. Even in the army, we are constantly innovating as to how we can make those weapon systems, communication systems, logistics. How can we make those things more efficient? So we constantly keep trying new innovative methods, and we keep working with equipment manufacturers as to how can we improve those products. So that we can operate more efficiently. So that is a certain mindset. So that is what we call as the, in the army they call it the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, and act. Right? In various schools of philosophy, this kind of a thought process has been spoken about. And somewhere in research and development, also, uh, this is the most fundamental mindset that we bring from the army, but which is also prevalent in various other schools of philosophy. Even if you take Buddhism, also a lot of philosophical schools also talk about it. Basically, you do something, you reflect on what you have done, you incorporate the lessons in that, and then do it the next time, do it better, right? So that's the whole cycle of how you guys do product development or research, right? You make a product, you use it, you see what are the shortcomings, you improve it, and you work on user experience. It's the same for everything. You make a website, you make a robot, or you make a website. It doesn't matter. It's the cycle is the same. The point is, now for to do that, you have to be the user of that particular item. So for you to start conceptualizing how you can improve it. So that is something that we lack because we don't use a range of products as much. So uh, that is something that the research mindset. So one of the important things that I want to talk to you guys about is that, to tell you that you, as students of technology and people belonging to the demography which holds a lot of promise for this country, have a certain responsibility. you know Today I can be whatever I can be, but I cannot fully say that it is all because of my effort. If I am something, it is also because the country has contributed in my personal evolution so much. The society has contributed in my personal evolution so much. So we all have a certain moral responsibility to give back to the society, to give back to the country, to give back to humanity at large, right? So that is the responsibility that you guys have. Why is that all the more important for India and young people in India? Is because you must be aware of the whole demographic population graph, right? That we have the largest population of young people you know in anywhere across the world. 60 to 75% of our population is youth. But there is a lot of disgruntlement. There is a lot of insecurity around. Will I get a job? No matter you do IIT, it's not enough. Then you start preparing for IIM. Then you think that that will give you a safe job. Then you start preparing for the next thing, and the next thing you think that doing a PhD will help you, then doing this will help you, but nothing really assures any this thing. So the point is, rather than waiting for anybody to give you anything on a platter, you have to snatch responsibility. So that is the role that the youth has towards nation building. Basically, you have to take charge of your circumstances and then start working towards making it. So a lot of people think about going abroad, and getting placed in a company that is abroad is considered a very, very prestigious thing. Prestigious thing. Of course, it is prestigious. But what you also need to figure out is that if you want to live in a country which is in a particular way, then you got to build that country in that particular way. You know. So it is important that you take responsibility for that as well, and then start working towards it. So that's the role that the youth has towards nation building, right? Now, how Now I'll talk about the last aspect that I want to highlight, that is youth and technology. Now the youth can contribute in many ways. Like you guys can contribute in 100 different ways. Join the army, you can join, you know, you can become a journalist, you can become a bureaucrat, you can become whatever you want to become, and you can contribute in multiple ways. But if you look at IITs, it is a very peculiar platform which in incubates you in an ecosystem of technology, right? Technology, all cutting edge technologies are, there are departments, and there's enough research infrastructure. You have startup incubators, and you have whole lot of, we can say that you have one of the best infrastructures to be incubated in in an ecosystem of innovation and technology. So that makes it, a moral responsibility for you guys to leverage that and see how technology can be applied for larger good. Now that larger good could be anything that resonates with you. It could start with just benefiting yourself. How could it benefit yourself? It could give you a better job. It could give you a sense of satisfaction for doing something that you like. Start somewhere that your heart resonates with, but eventually you will expand. It will be you Eventually you will start understanding that you don't live in isolation. You live in a society. Then you got to contribute for the larger good, for the country and for the humanity at large, right? That kind of a consciousness will eventually emerge. But to start with, what do you resonate with now? What does your heart speak now, today? Just pursue that. That's the guide. Eventually you will fall into that cycle of personal growth, evolution, and expression of your highest self. That is what we need to aspire. So there is a clear synergy where we in Claw Global, we would like to engage with students from universities from across this country, and we would like to guide you guys and also work with you guys. You guys possess certain skill sets and certain knowledge which fits well with our vision, and what we would like to do, and you guys can learn things from us, and of course we will be there to guide you as well. So we are working very, very closely with a lot of colleges. We take students on internships. We take students as volunteers, and then if you have it, we will come for you, or we will take you. And it's also, the onus is also on you to find us and then see how you fit in, but also not to force fit yourself. If there is a synergy, you work together, and that's how we engage with people. So this is my closing remark to you guys. That is, Claw Global Operation Blue Freedom is our first initiative, which is targeted at people with disabilities. We are also working on various verticals of technology, primarily into product development, primarily into research and development, primarily into innovation. How can we make innovative products so that we can improve the lives of people, and how can we improve the living circumstances of people, but also cause uh, cause exponential abundance, in general, for the economy at large and the society at large. So that is what we're working on, and so this is, in some ways, you can say that we would like to reach out to you guys. You can get in touch with us and see what we're doing, and then see how you guys fit in, and then we can, you know. So with that, I will open it for the questions. I think your team has prepared some questions, right? So with that, we will answer. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So my dear friend Bhaskar has joined, I believe. He has prepared some questions himself, and on the meet by asking set questions, I would like to request anyone who has any kind of questions to ask to our sir to enter it in our chat box, and that shall be asked very soon. Bhaskar, yeah. Bhaskar, am I audible?
Uh, in the meanwhile, I had one question. Can I ask it by unmuting myself, or should I post it in the chat box for now?
No, so go ahead. Until Bhaskar becomes unmuted, we can definitely open the ground to questions. Yes, sir.
Sure, Punit, thanks. So, Arun sir, you had like while speaking, you had mentioned about philosophy. I forgot the name of that. Can you elaborate on it a bit more?
What Buddhism says is that you act, observe, and then you improve, and then act again. You know. So in the army, it's called the OODA loop. OODA: observe, orient, decide, and act. That's an army action. That's an acronym for observe, orient, decide, and act. That's what we follow in the army. In product development, there
Yeah.
you guys do it. No, you create a product, and then you go for user experience, and then you incorporate it in the next iteration. So it's something like, yeah.
Yes. Right.
So I too had something. I'm sorry if these questions are going in a more philosophical manner rather than technical. But then in the beginning you mentioned that one difference between the mindsets than perhaps a member of the army, a dedicated member of the army, and like an average, perhaps instantly motivated college student would have is that ours is temporary. We just tend to lose it maybe maximum within 2 days, if at best. However,
Hmm.
for you guys, it is more streamlined and focused and permanent in a way. Could you explain more on how
It's
that?
not streamline wouldn't be the correct word. So, our psychology operates in various layers, right? I don't know if some of you have any exposure to neurolinguistic programming, or even if you look at the philosophical models, we talk about the chakra systems, right? You have the root chakra, the heart chakra, then you have higher planes of the chakra system and all that. So Western psychology also talks about it. They have the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the base needs, the higher needs, you know. So whatever is a factor that affects you on the higher planes, you know, so uh, you are a function of a lot of things, of your behaviors, of your circumstances, and then your belief system, your values, and at the apex level is your identity, how you look at yourself. We all have certain stories in our heads, as to who am I, you know, who am I? You have certain stories. Okay, I am this kind of a person. So if you can plant something which molds your identity in a certain way, that's what the army training does to us, that we start looking at ourselves in a certain way, that this is me, then that is imprinted in your subconscious on a very deep identity level of your human consciousness. I wouldn't say psychology. Psychology is still a lower level of it's not an all encompassing framework to quantify the human soul and the human mind. But if you were to work on your human mind and the human consciousness at the apex level, then all the lower levels align accordingly. So your actions become different, your thoughts become different, you change your circumstances, But of course, you can work bottoms up also. So there are people who will tell you that you have to work on your habits, you have to change your circumstances, your room has to be tidy, you have to do this, you have to do that. All those things help also, but this is working on somebody's value system and working on somebody's identity, is working on a very deep level of his subconscious mind that gives you certain, it equips you to live life in a certain way. Then you can take that and apply that everywhere. Yeah, there's nothing that you cannot learn off YouTube these days.
Yes, sir. So what you're saying, if to summarize so that everyone can understand completely, is perhaps that like I've read in a book somewhere, we have some book reading sessions, and I've read in one somewhere that instead of saying I want to quit smoking, we could say I identify as someone who do not smoke anymore. That
Yeah,
all, yeah, something like that can affect us more deeply, I guess.
yeah. For example, this whole thing, this whole thing that mental health, I have this, I have phobia, I have OCD. Why do you have to create nouns for temporary phenomenons? Maybe you are some person who likes to act in a certain way. That does not make you that person. But we create a term for it and place that in our subconscious mind that I am this. I am lazy. No, you are not lazy. For the past, let's say 2 days, you didn't do anything. That does not make you lazy. Just say that for what it is. For the past 2 days, I did not do anything. Or in the recent times, I have not been studious. So whatever, it's still a transient thing. Nothing about human beings is permanent. You can always change whatever circumstances or behaviors of yours. So don't make nouns out of them, but just be flexible and.
Yes, sir. Bhaskar is joining in a minute. So until then, could you, if possible, elaborate a bit on Operation Blue Freedom? A lot of us are very interested in knowing if you, how much is possible. If you could explain
Yeah.
what.
So
Yes.
Claw Global was started in 2019 by Major Jacob, right? So you must be aware of that story where he met the Air Force officer, which inspired him to think on those lines, and then he formed a team around it. And then the point is about mindset transfer and skill set transfer to the larger society for creating greater social impact, right? So one of the first applications we saw is that we possess some skills which are very, very essential to people with disabilities. Why we chose people with disabilities is definitely the social odds are stacked against them heavily. So what happens is when you help them, you are helping them exponentially, vis-a-vis a person who's, let's say, a bit better off or something like that in material circumstances. So so we started training people with disabilities in scuba diving 2019-20, and then we conceptualized the 3 world records. And then we realized that this should not be a one-off instance. We need to institutionalize this. So Operation Blue Freedom is an initiative to institutionalize high-end therapies and rehabilitative protocols for people with disabilities, including adventure sports. Adventure sports is one of them. So that is Operation Blue Freedom. You know, now the extension of Operation Blue Freedom is the human ability biome, where we say that this kind of a framework, then it can be used by anybody. Let's say there are people who are stuck in loops of self-doubt, who are stuck in loops of procrastination, youth who lack motivation or have any other issues. They can also use these frameworks to enable their abilities and unlock their potential. So that's how we universalized it. That's Operation Blue Freedom and the humanity biome. So Operation Blue Freedom is basically we helping touching the trying in our way trying to make the lives of people with disabilities better. And the extension of that, the phase 2 of that is the humanity biome, where we are institutionalizing this framework for everyone and making this framework even more all-encompassing, where we are adding other components, which we call as the full spectrum rehabilitation, where we add education, where we add rehabilitation, where we add recreation. And while all of this is happening, we also carry out research.
Yes.
One question which I had, sir, that like we all know what Clock Global has done till now. Like it has achieved like world record, and this is only possible with the help of a great team. So, like for example, this workshop is being conducted or by Student Counseling Services or SCS. So, as an organization, we also have a great focus on team building. Like we want to create a team of leaders. So, like, can you elaborate on this term called team building? Like, how to build a good team?
एक तो ना ये modern this whole coaching and management jargon, team building, everybody wants to do team building, है ना? Everybody wants to, corporates want to do team building, they all want to learn team building from the army. Why I don't really like that term is for two reasons. But anyways, there's one another way to look at this whole thing. How can you become more efficient, and how can you become more exploratory, and how can you become more evolutionary in nature? You know, being evolutionary is what I told in the beginning. You do something, reflect on it, see what are the things that you can improve, and then incorporate it, and then do it again. So being evolutionary and being exploratory is basically you see what is the limits. So when we started doing this, okay, we can train so many people with disabilities, and so many people with disabilities are willing. Then we immediately changed our target. We said, okay, we'll train the largest team of people with disabilities to scuba dive independently. Let's say we achieve that, we will then set some other target. We'll always keep testing the limits. So that comes little from our special forces mindset, where we are constantly testing the limits. Where is the limit? We are always pushing the limit. Once we reach that limit, then we push the limit. See if will we die if we go further. We keep going further and further and further. So that is the exploratory spirit, right? Now that is the exploratory spirit where you constantly test the limits. So that is called living life on the cutting edge. Cutting edge is what has been achieved by humanity so far, and you always want to keep somebody wants me to join again. What happened?
No, sir, someone is unable to join. So I just said that if you request, you can join again. You may continue.
Okay, like that. Okay. So basically, efficiency, exploration, and evolution, right? You have to be on a constant loop curve of evolution. You have to keep changing things, and not changing for the sake of changing, but making things better. Exploratory is constantly keep testing the limits. And efficiency, how can you do that with lesser and lesser effort and better? Now, team building is a derivative of this, derivative of efficiency, derivative of exploration, derivative of evolution. Team building is one of the aspects which helps you in achieving these things, right? Team building is not required for the sake of team building. Come, let's go hang out together and see how we get together as a team. So when there is a central goal guiding you, people who align with that which will naturally condense into a team. After that, there are certain intangible intangible aspects of a successful team building. So we have a basic yardstick of how to judge whether a team has blended into a team and is operating in an efficient manner. Two ways. One is that thing should operate like one single organism. In some ways, you look at it, the human body has multiple organisms and multiple organs, and even each organ is consisting of millions and millions of cells, right? But these cells operate in perfect unison, in the sense they complement each other, right? And they also understand their role, and they perform this role in perfect synergy, producing one creature called as one human being. So that is like an ideal team building scenario. So what are the aspects of that? it is complementary nature. Not everybody has to have the same kind of skill sets. If you are strong in some things, the other team member should be strong in something else. Whether he is strong in something else, or basically each other understands each other strengths, weaknesses, and then you complement each other as a team. So that's when a team operates like an organism. The second yardstick, how we test whether the team is blended together or not, is a team that communicates the least is the most efficient. If you have to keep having meetings and meetings and keep explaining it to people to do this, to do that, which means that people don't understand it intuitively. A special forces team does not talk or talks to the minimum. Every other person intuitively understands what is his role in the team and then steps up and fills it up. Either he steps up because he is good at it, or he steps up because he's generally good at everything, but he sees a gap. Okay, ये करना है तो मैं वो फट से वो करूंगा. You know, so that kind of a thing. So that kind of a complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses. You know, evolved communication. That communication is efficient, which is not too much and not too less. What is the right amount of communication? Not too less, not too much. Not too much, you are wasting time just talking. You're not doing anything anyways. Too less is the idea is not equally understood by everybody, and the issues that are coming up are not equally spread amongst anybody, so that somebody could be having free time or the skill sets where he can pick it up and execute. So the right amount of communication is that communication which gets that job done. So team building is not a standalone feature. It is at getting something done or executing an idea or living in a particular way. Sometimes it is not about doing anything together. It's just about a bunch of people coming together and living in a particular way also. But whatever it is, there is a certain central guiding aim, an all-encompassing aim, which members of the team subscribe to. Then the rest of the things fall in place, where people intuitively understand their role within that task and then plug themselves into it. So, like, these are some aspects of a good team. That is, it should communicate the optimum amount, not too much, not too less. And it should operate intuitively, and it should understand each other's strengths and weaknesses and organize itself. Sometimes having a distributed organization is better, where everybody has the same power. Sometimes a hierarchical structure is better, whatever is efficient. For example, a spear, because it pierces and then the rest of the blade cuts through the rest of the portion, right? So that is one person spearing it. For example, in mountaineering, there's a lead climber who just goes and pitches the rope for the rest of the team. So sometimes it's an intuitive call. That's not the only way, but whatever model works for that task in hand is what is the right way to build a team. So a team should have complementary skill sets. If there is a gap, there should be a person who fills that gap, because if you are trying to do everything on your own, that's also inefficient. That person could rather dedicate more hours perfecting that skill set. You know? And of course, understanding each other and trust is the most important thing, which is not much highlighted. I don't know why in the corporate world, but we believe ये सब तो हो जाएगा यार, skill will तो हम ले आएंगे. Do I trust you? Is the fundamental thing, you know. But trust comes from, again, brotherhood again comes from all of you subscribing to that larger goal. So ultimately it all starts from there, that what is it that you're trying to do, and what are you trying to achieve, and does everybody understand that? Then rest all will fall in place. That's the first step.
Insightful. I think Bhaskar has joined, and he has prepared some questions. So, Bhaskar, so you can go ahead.
I actually had prepared a few questions, but I want to ask a follow-up question regarding this one. For example, I have to put together a team. So there are two options for me. For a project.
No.
For a project or some work. Okay, let's consider a project.
Okay.
Regarding an
project which project. Is part of your course
college,
or something.
College course, yes. So I have two options. One is a person that I trust, but while working together, we don't work together well as a team. And the other person, we are not like good friends or anything, but I know that when we work together, we are good as a team. So which one should I choose? The one where we don't like each
it's
other,
a
but
graph. Yeah, it's a graph. There is competency on one side, and then there is trust on another side. You know, the equilibrium lies somewhere. You know, but the slope of the graph in terms of trust is, it's more inclined towards trust. Trust has more weightage over competency, but trust alone can't get that thing done. You need, of course, competency as well, but it's just that trust has higher weightage. These are not black and white, these are intuitive calls. The equilibrium lies somewhere on that graph. You have to figure it out. That's where your intuition and your interpersonal bonding comes. You cannot take an absolute asshole just because he is the most skilled person in the world. Neither can you take a person who's the dumbass of high order, but he is extremely trustworthy. So doesn't work like that. The equilibrium lies somewhere, but I would give more weightage to trust. That's it. Because it's क्या बोलें, some values are not very fundamental in nature. Competency can still be developed easier than trying to develop trust, because trust as a value comes higher in that pyramid that I explained in the beginning. Competency as a value comes little lower in that value. Competency is the function of your actions and your intellect to process those actions, right? But trust is more a core value.
yes, sir. Another question that I have is that whenever we are learning a new skill and it is a little similar to something else, but like not exactly the same. For example, if you are play badminton and you are going to learn tennis, and if you find learning tennis is hard, you have the tendency to like think, okay, tennis is hard, I already know badminton, so I'll play badminton only. So how to avoid having such thoughts, like how
Again,
to
it's a
get the
very,
mindset to learn?
very, very fine balance. So there is a possibility to go into a meta state of mind where you develop the mindset to do anything, that I can achieve anything. Then if you put your mind and effort adequately into that, you will pick it up for sure. But that said, there are some natural inclinations. Let's say you need 10 hours to pick up a skill, but you need 10,000 hours to pick up another skill. But if you put the same 10,000 hours in the first skill, you can achieve a certain level of proficiency and competency in the first skill, which is far, far higher grade. So you have to balance it. So what is it that I'm trying to achieve in life? Why do I want to learn tennis in the first place? Is it because I'm bored of badminton? I would like to gamify my playing time or my physical routine in a certain way so that I experience a different type of gamification. In that case, even if it takes more effort, might as well go learn tennis as well, because you are looking for change or a different kind of a game, or a different kind of a game to test your physicality or enjoy that gamification. So in that case, might as well put in more effort. But let's say you are somebody who is competent in marketing, but you are trying to go into supply chain management, and learning supply chain management will take you 10 years, but in 10 years in marketing you could have become god knows what, let's just say, for example. So it's a fine balance where you intuitively take a call whether should I put in more effort in learning a new aspect, or I should excel in the existing aspect. That's again will be dictated by your larger life goals and the context of the skill that you're trying to pick up. Why are you trying to pick up those skills? What are you trying to achieve in it? Like in the specific context of badminton versus tennis, it depends on why are you wanting to learn tennis in the first place. If it is about just experiencing a new game, then you should go and try. Now, here is where the psychological trap is. Now, the trap is you start a skill new, you will of course not be good. But the point is we immediately assign it to our identity and say that यार मुझे तो नहीं आता, मुझे तो नहीं आता. Your subconscious picks it up very very fast. अच्छा हाँ नहीं मुझे नहीं आता, ठीक है. So that is where you have to tell नहीं मुझे अभी नहीं आता, but eventually I can learn if I want to. So you are bound to be goofy in the beginning. So stick with it and then follow this loop of act, reflect, and then incorporate the learnings, derive the learnings, incorporate those learnings, and then act again. You know, you'll get better with each cycle. The cycles, you may take more cycles. That's all about it. But if you reflect deeper and then incorporate those things with diligence, and you'll grow faster. So learning a skill is basically understanding the theoretical frameworks behind that skill. What are the unique things? Let's say you want to become a chef, है ना? पहले दिन तो तुमसे प्याज ही नहीं कटेगा, ठीक है? तो you will cut your hand when you're trying to cut tomato, let's just say, और तुम उसको overheat कर दोगे, टोमेटो का कुछ और ही बन जाएगा, है ना? So, but do you have the knack to observe and reflect कि ये हुआ क्यों है? या फिर तुम अगर वो नहीं करते रहोगे तो उस स्किल को तुम कितने बार भी करते रहो, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. You will keep cutting tomato the same way. You don't reflect what happened. You know, if हाथ कट गया टोमेटो काटते वक्त, तो are you holding it properly? You know, what is it? Is it the fault with the knife? Can I change the type of knife? Or is it about my grip? Or what is it about? You know, so it's about getting that science of learning a skill. I would rather suggest as students, rather than trying to pick up a skill, so this is what I call as the meta learning model, where you learn how to learn. The first thing we as students don't do is we don't learn how to learn. So you first learn how to learn, then you learn anything, you learn it faster. You know, so now for any new knowledge, it's a different thing. Yeah, for any new skills, it's a different thing. Skills basically because there is some physical activities involved, particularly physical skills. You know, so the modalities are a little different, but any which ways you have to learn how to learn, and then you go into a meta learning zone where you can learn anything if you put your mind and efforts adequately into. You know, so the first step would be to learn how to learn. Yeah.
Yes. And also, like
Somebody write a
among many
question.
places,
Yes, sir. I wrote it up.
Yeah. Tell me. Yes,
Sir,
Raj.
yes, sir. I would just like to read it up. Sir, can you share any life-threatening experience of yours where you were in touch with
No,
your
yeah,
mortal
I did
nature?
not have any. I did not have any life threatening. I served in a very peaceful time in Kashmir. My combat exposure is very very limited. So, the वैसे तो यार कश्मीर में तुम बैरक से बाहर निकलो तो ही लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग ही है, ठीक है? बुलेट प्रूफ तो पहनना ही पड़ता है, बंदूक तो कॉक करके रखनी पड़ती है, ठीक है? We've been part of lot of operations, but I mean, compared to what a special forces guy could have experienced, it's any day more than what a regular infantry soldier would have experienced. But still, it's okay. ठीक है, इतना life threatening नहीं था. That's what I would say.
Sir, another thing, sir, can you suggest any ways for us students to be, constantly out of our comfort zones? Because there are a ton of possibilities for us to get into our, safe zones and just stay there.
Hmm. Safe zone is again a function of you not learning the science of exploration, evolution, and efficiency. Once you pick up these modalities of how to be on the exploratory curve, then you will start seeking these things that I want to explore more and more. If you don't know how to explore in the first place or be evolutionary in the first place, that's when you fall to the safe zone, which is your default setup of achieving whatever you already have. You know, so wo hai.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I would say, incorporate the evolutionary mindset, the way to change, and the way to evolve, and the way to become more efficient. You know, I dropped some. Anyway.
Sir, can I ask another question if the
Mm-hmm.
hosts allow me?
Mm-hmm.
So, sir, I just got some. I'm actually now in an R&D doing my internship in a reputed organization. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what I saw over there was, if there is anyone, I heard from people that if there is anyone who is driven and who is working faster, quicker, and more efficiently than someone else, people usually his teammates, his colleague, try to drag them down and those kind of things. So, how does one deal with all those?
So that comes from team dynamic, lack of understanding of team dynamics and own personal insecurity. Let's say there is a person who does better than me in a particular way. I'll be more than happy that he does it in a better way. I would rather focus on myself. So the insecurity comes from two aspects. Firstly, looking at that person as someone that is not you. अरे वो अचीव करेगा तो अच्छा ही है ना, तुम क्या करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो? तुम नेशन बिल्ड करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, ह्यूमैनिटी को हेल्प करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, तो अगर वो बंदा अच्छा कर रहा है तो अच्छा ही है ना? So it is a siloing and a limiting mindset where you look at yourself as distinct from him. If you look at he also being part of the same team as you, that could be helping your college or your organization or your country or just humanity or species at large, then you that वो फीलिंग नहीं आएगी. ऑनेस्टली तुम में से अगर कोई अच्छा परफॉर्म कर, हम तो खुश हैं, है ना? हम लोगों ने क्लॉ शुरू किया था, people with disabilities को train किया. There are a lot of scuba diving agency or scuba diving schools across the country which also started training people with disabilities. We were happy. ये तो अच्छा हुआ, है ना? क्योंकि हम तो कुछ अचीव करना चाह रहे हैं, ऐसे ही हो रहा है. So like that. Second thing is it comes from personal insecurity. अगर मुझे पता है कि हाँ मेरी इतनी औकात है ना, अब मैं इतना ही अचीव कर सकता हूँ, अब मैं इससे ज्यादा नहीं ग्रो कर सकता हूँ, which is a lie. ऐसा है ही नहीं. At any point human beings can change, but we somehow go into this negative loop कि यार मैं इतना ही अचीव कर सकता हूँ. फिर इनसिक्योरिटी शुरू हो जाती है, अगर वो आगे बढ़ गया तो मेरा क्या होगा, है ना? I might lose that post, I might get kicked out of that team, I might lose that job, whatever. That comes from making your identity static. कि मेरी इतनी काबिलियत है, अब इस काबिलियत के बराबर जो नौकरी है वो मैं पकड़ सकता हूँ, वो मैं काम कर सकता हूँ. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, तुम कभी भी कुछ भी सीख सकते हो.
Sir, and sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, how do you align people for that larger goal? Because I might be having that thing, but how does the person with me he's not into?
So let's say he is feeling jealous of you. तुम क्यों उसको चेंज करने की कोशिश करो? उसका टाइम आएगा, वो समझ जाएगा. तुम अपने, it should not affect you यार. Why do you want to change him right away? तुम लगे रहो अपने काम पे, करते रहो. It should not affect you until and unless he harms you. That also you can handle maturely, but the point is he will understand it eventually. But just because he is being insecure, you don't have to go around explaining humanity to him. वो होगा जिसको अपने टाइम पे होगा. E-discovering it has a larger and a surefire way of sticking into his thought process than an external agent telling him that he should think in XYZ base. Of course, people seek help outside of themselves, but only when they are ready. So he should be ready for it. His life circumstances will bring him there, and then he will understand. We can nudge people. We should nudge people into positive ways. There's a fine balance between nudging people and force fitting people. You should rather focus on the most important thing that is in your hands, that is you. The only thing that you should work on.
Yes.
Your thoughts, your actions, and your thing.
Yes. Thank you.
Bhaskar,
Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Sir, another thing that we do, like when we are trying to learn something, is that we try to make a routine. And obviously, many people here must have tried making some routines, either in the childhood or even at a later time, like for giving JE. Like you will make schedules that 2 hours chemistry, 1 hour physics, 1 hour maths, and so on. But
So
what
routine
happens?
को follow. Go ahead.
Sir, initially we will follow it. Like if we make a viable routine, we'll follow it. But after a time, it still feels repetitive. Like not in a week or 2 weeks, but after a month, the routine starts to feel repetitive.
So if you don't understand why you created that routine in the first place, I understood your question. So if you don't understand why you created that routine in the first place, that you are bound to fail, or you are bound to constantly push yourself and invoke your willpower to follow that routine. Willpower is like एक दिन में ना limited quantity होता है.
Yes, sir.
अब वो तुम किसी चीज पे ही लगा सकते हो, उसको रूटीन फॉलो करने में एग्जॉस्ट कर दोगे तो विल पावर बचेगी नहीं. ऑफ कोर्स ये विल पावर की क्वांटिटी भी बढ़ाई जा सकती है, बट विल पावर को तुम समझ लो कि तुम्हारे दिन की शुरुआत में तुम्हारे हाथ में 10 रुपए थे. अब तुमने सुबह के 10 रुपए सुबह के बेड बनाने में ही 10 रुपए खर्च दिए, तो तुम्हारे पास आगे दिन में कुछ और काम करने के लिए बचेगा ही नहीं. वो रूटीन फेल हो जाएगा आगे का जो प्लान. तो विल पावर पे नहीं रिले करना चाहिए. देयर शुड बी अदर underlying values which motivate you. Now, what are those values? It is again, why are you making that routine? एक छोटा सा एक्सरसाइज कर सकते हो, कॉल द 7 स्टेज वाई. तो वाई पूछते रहो. लाइक यू सेड कि सर रूटीन नहीं फॉलो हो रहा, बट व्हाई डू यू वांट टू क्रिएट अ रूटीन इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस? बताओ भास्कर.
Sir,
लाइक
like
यू
if
गेव
we
द
take
एग्जांपल कि
JE, for
आईआईटी
example.
जे करना है. हाँ, आईआईटी जे करना है. सो ये हो गया. एक बार मैंने वाई पूछा, तुमने बोला आईआईटी जे करना है. एक और बार पूछो, आईआईटी जे तुम्हें क्यों करना है?
अच्छी कॉलेज, अच्छी जॉब.
क्यों चाहिए अच्छी कॉलेज और जॉब?
अच्छी
Third
जॉब
why?
होती है तो वेल पेइंग होगी बेसिकली, तो लाइफ इजी रहेगी.
Better quality of life. Why do you want a better quality of life? Fourth time, ask why. Why do you want a better quality of life?
For myself and for parents, their comfort.
Why do you want to comfort your parents?
Because they have always done their best to give me the best facilities I need. So I want to be able to provide them the best that
You want to
I
give
can achieve.
back.
Yes.
Why do you want to give back? Sixth time I hit. Why do you want to give back? No, it's very serious. I'm doing a very serious exercise on you.
Like there is a general
So, you
feeling
should
that
ask this. You
they
should
have done
ask this
everything
yourself.
for us. So as a gratitude, like they have done everything for us,
So,
and it's our
centrally,
time.
your soul resonates with these values. Giving back, gratitude, है ना? ये सब चीजें तेरे अंदर कोर फंडामेंटल वैल्यूज हैं. तो ये वाई तू पूछते जाना जब तक तुझे कन्विंसिंग आंसर नहीं मिलता. इसका कोई एंड नहीं है. पूछना व्हाई डू यू फील ग्रेटिट्यूड. इसके बाद तुरंत तेरे पास अभी आंसर नहीं होगा. दैट्स व्हाई आई एम स्टॉपिंग हियर. बट गो बैक ऑन दिस एंड रिफ्लेक्ट व्हाई. है ना? व्हाई ग्रेटिट्यूड क्यों है? पूछ व्हाई. तो डीप डाउन देयर आर सम थिंग्स दैट यू रेजोनेट विद. योर हार्ट रेजोनेट्स विद, योर सोल रेजोनेट्स विद फ्यू थिंग्स. दैट इज ग्रेटिट्यूड, गिविंग बैक, इम्पैक्ट, व्हाटएवर इट इज. उसको आइडेंटिफाई करो. अल्टीमेटली यू विल रियलाइज दैट इट इज लव. You love your people, you love something, you either love yourself, so there ye bigger and bigger realms of your own internal existence will open to you. Just keep asking this why. Then once you understand these things, तो तुम्हें फिर साइकिल बैक करो. अच्छा, ये करना है तो ये करना है, ये करना है, इसलिए मुझे आईआईटी पास करना है. जब तुम समझ जाओगे उसके बाद बैठ के रूटीन बनाना, फिर देखना वो कितना फॉलो होता नहीं होता. ठीक है? अगर तुमने अपनी कोर सच नहीं समझा और कोर सच समझे बिना जो भी बनाते रहो, कुछ नहीं फॉलो होने वाला. ठीक है? ऑफ कोर्स इनडायरेक्ट मेथड्स होते हैं कि 21 डे हैबिट फॉर्मेशन साइकिल, ये सब साइकोलॉजी है, ये सब लोअर लेवल्स ऑफ वो है. अल्टीमेट लेवल कॉन्शियसनेस पे खेलो. अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस को ट्यून करो कि तुम ये सब समझ के जो है अपने एक्शन में डे टू डे लाइफ में ला सकते. There are many ways. There are productivity books and 7 habits of highly effective people, time management, willpower, the only one thing at a time wala concept. There's so many productivity self-help book, but all of that is targeting at that plane, that is your actions. It is trying to moderate your actions without understanding why are your actions in a particular way. Your actions are a reflection of your internal values and your internal level of consciousness. तो
Sir,
ये है,
also
उस पे
one
काम
thing that
करो.
I did
हाँ, go
is like,
deeper within yourself is what I am saying. पूछो मैं कौन हूँ,
yes,
क्या कर रहा हूँ, मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ ये.
sir, this I'll surely ask myself from now on. But what I did was like, if after 3-4 weeks, I'm feeling that this timetable is getting repetitive and I'm not able to focus properly. So I would slightly change the timetable.
So I'll come
And
to
I
that.
found that it did work, but the extent to which it works depends person to person.
Yes. So I'll tell
What
you
are your
why
thoughts?
it works or it doesn't work. Again, those 3 elements of evolution, exploration, and efficiency. These are some very core values that all of us resonate with. nature is always, that is life, that is how life moves, life evolves, life grows, you know, life is always exploring the cutting edge, life is always making things efficient. So वो सब tenets तुम अपने routine पे भी apply करो. Is your routine evolutionary in nature? Is it adapting to your changing circumstances? You know, that is why human beings resonate to two things, stories and games. आज के डेट में देख लो, जो मूवी चलती है, क्रिकेट चलती है, क्यों चलता है? Human beings resonate with games. Human being resonates with stories. We resonate with stories because all of us deep down have a fundamental need for expressing love and experiencing love, right? So from there comes empathy, from there comes caring, gratitude, giving back, all of those things, right? The second thing is gamification. Of gamification, why do we resonate with gamification? That is where the whole element of efficiency, exploration, and all that comes, you know. And gamification, for the same sake of gamification, is also valid. Human beings resonate with that. So when you incorporate these facets of your human existence into your routine, then it will work for sure. You know, creating consistency, creating habits, and then of course gamifying it. You know, and then creating accountability हो सकता है. I used to keep one छोटू सा print out. You know, I used to tick कि अब एक printer रखो. I don't know if it's possible for you guys. तो उसमें मैं प्रिंट करके रखता था अपना रूटीन, और मैं टिक करता था. अगर 1 घंटे के स्लॉट में अगर मुझे कुछ पढ़ना था, और वो मैंने पढ़ लिया तो मैं टिक करता था. एंड ऑफ द डे मैं बैठ के अपना स्कोर निकालता था, है ना. तो मैं अपना एक वीकली लॉग्स बना के रखता था, एंड देन उस स्कोर को फिर मैं कंपेयर करता था क्या किया. तो इट्स माय ओन वे ऑफ, आई यूज्ड टू गेमिफाई इट लाइक दैट. नो.
Yes. Anybody in our meeting would like to ask sir any question you might be having, or you can type in the chat.
Sir, I would like to have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, please, Balaji.
Sir, actually, I am not an IIT student. One of my friends sent the link.
That's fine.
I'm very much passionate to join defense forces. I'm currently in my second year in college. It has a 4-year degree. So after 2 years, I would like to join through CDS. 2 months before, some wrong thing happened. I fell down very badly and my ankle twisted. And I think so that some ligament tear or many different type of things
सब
happened.
ठीक
I
हो
don't
जाता है,
know.
लिगामेंट लिगामेंट सब ठीक हो जाता है.
ठीक हो जाएगा ना ligament tear वगैरह सब.
Yeah, ligament tear can heal if you get it treated the proper way and follow the proper recovery cycle and do your physiotherapy regularly.
Yeah, this happened bad. Like 2 महीने हो गए तो मैं डॉक्टर को दिखाया
यार
तो उसने
लिगामेंट
कुछ
है तो सॉफ्ट टिश्यू है यार, ठीक हो जाता है. डोंट वरी.
हो जाएगा, मतलब प्रॉपर रेस्ट देने से हो जाएगा.
2 साल बचे हैं. 6 महीने में फुटबॉल पूरा लिगामेंट कटा हुआ लिगामेंट ठीक करा के आ जाते हैं फील्ड में.
सर मतलब जब हुआ उसके बाद करीब 2 महीने तक मैं रेस्ट दिया नहीं, क्योंकि किसी ने बताया नहीं कि इतना प्रॉब्लम होगा. और वो फिर वो पेन थोड़ा सा कम
हमारे
होते होते.
कराओ. Basically, it can be cured. Yeah, don't worry. Soft
Okay.
tissue injuries can be cured.
Thank you, sir.
But focus on proper rest, recovery, physiotherapy, and gradual resumption of range of motion.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I had one question. So, whenever I interact with an special forces veteran, like when I'm interacting with you, or when I've interacted with Major Jacob or Major Deepak here, so I have found one thing in common, that all of like every one of you have have something different in you. Like you have a different level of confidence than a normal human being. Like your attitude is like I can do anything in this world. So I feel that if every citizen of this country has that attitude, then our country will be on another level. So can you please elaborate on how to develop? How can an individual develop this type of an attitude of doing anything anything they want?
ये attitude तो intellect and reflection, understanding of own self से भी हो सकता है. वो एक तरीका है. कुछ लोगों का ऐसे ही हो जाता है. You know, great sages, seers, these people pick it up like that. You know, intuitively they understand the true nature of human existence and then realize that the human nature is unlimited. That is the truth. ये truth है, ये तो तुम मान लो. क्वेश्चन मत करना इसको। ये सत्य है कि इंसान कुछ भी कर सकता है, ठीक है, क्योंकि तुम्हारे ऊपर अनगिनत एग्जाम्पल्स तुम्हें दिन, अगर तुम थोड़ा सा भी पढ़ोगे, सोशल मीडिया में तो तुम लोग सभी एक्टिव रहते हो, ऐसे ऐसे ह्यूमन फीट्स हमको देखने को मिलता है ना। तो जो इस चीज को एक रोजाना तुम्हें दोहराते रहता है कि इंसान चाहे तो कुछ भी कर सकता है ना। तो ये तो एस्टेब्लिश्ड है। अब ये पॉइंट है कि इस सत्य से हम दूर चले जाते हैं, पैदा होते हैं इस सत्य के साथ ही। जब बच्चा पैदा होता है उसको कोई डर नहीं होता, तो वो लगे रहता है ना। तो लगता है सब कर सकता हूँ मैं, है ना। with the toddler, no, toddlers, if you observe toddlers, they feel that they can learn anything, do anything, try anything, free रहते हैं. But life circumstances, it is structured in certain way that we lose that spirit. Now the journey is to bring back that spirit in your adulthood. How do you bring that back? Either life will push you to the corner and then sometimes it gets unlocked like that for people, or one sure way of doing that is basically picking up certain skills. This kind of a confidence comes from you possessing certain capabilities, so one of the ways of doing it is you picking up certain capabilities. That is one of the things we are also constantly figuring as to how can we trigger this mindset in the larger population. So we realize that okay, ठीक है, insecurities हैं, लोगों को लगता है कि if I ask you, तुम लोग IIT ज्वाइन ही क्यों किया, तुम बोलोगे सर अच्छा नौकरी मिलेगा, अच्छा जॉब मिलेगा. इट्स ऑल अबाउट बेसिकली योर सेल्फ सस्टेनेंस, है ना, कि पैसा आ जाएगा, घर वाले खुश हो जाएंगे, है ना. इट्स अबाउट योर बेसिक सस्टेनेंस एंड वी हैव लॉट ऑफ इनसिक्योरिटीज अराउंड दिस. So how can we unlock these insecurities? Is by equipping people in what one of the ways we are working on, more ways also as to how we can trigger this mindset on others. One of the ways we came up with is like, we create this life skills module, basically teach people how to survive in any kind of terrain, नदी पानी कहीं जंगल में फेंक दो ना, खाना वाना पहन के, it will unlock a certain mindset in you. यार ये पैसे से ही मैं जिंदा रहूंगा ऐसा नहीं है. पैसे नहीं था जब भी, तब भी इंसान जिंदा ही रहता है, ठीक है. कल को सारा बैंक वैंक सब बंद हो गया, सब बर्बाद हो गया, है ना, न्यूक्लियर बम गिर गया इधर उधर, है ना, खत्म थोड़ी हो जाएगा ह्यूमैनिटी, नहीं खत्म होगा. जाके खेती करके झोपड़ी बना के वहां से अपना काम शुरू करके वापस आ जाएंगे हम, है ना. तो ये इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल पे समझना एक बात है, इस चीज को एहसास करना एक बात है. इस चीज को एहसास जब करोगे तुम्हारे नस्ल में घुस जाएगा. So how can you code that into your DNA is the point. So that you have to do through certain physical experiences. So that is by, either some people go and do extreme physical sports. कि नहीं मैं अभी जो है I will walk from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Something like that. The farthest and the widest thing that you can imagine. What we are doing in our own ways to do this, trigger this mindset in everyone, is basically we made this life skills module where we teach basic self-defense, all-terrain survival skills, and emergency medical response. So these skills which we feel that if instilled, it will expand the consciousness of people. Of course, not fully. 4-5 के दिन के workshop में तुम्हारा, we cannot fully unlock it, but we can definitely make you more confident. But if you continue on that path and equip yourself with skills and life experiences which test your limits and redefine your own limits to yourself, you will reach a stage that आप वो लिमिट टेस्ट करते जाओ. एक अभी तुम्हारे परसेप्शन में व्हाट इज द हाईएस्ट वाइडेस्ट फारदेस्ट थिंग दैट यू कैन अचीव, उसको सोचना. वो जब हो जाएगा तो एक नया टारगेट निकल के आएगा. दैट इज व्हाई दैट एक्सप्लोरेशन इज इंपॉर्टेंट. आई टोल्ड यू एफिशिएंसी, एक्सप्लोरेशन एंड एवोल्यूशन. सो एक्सप्लोर करते जाओगे, फिर नया लिमिट निकलेगा, उस लिमिट को अचीव करोगे, फिर 2-4 बार ये होते रहेगा तो फिर तुम्हें साला ये तो लिमिट है ही नहीं, मैं कोई भी टारगेट मैं सेट करूंगा कर दूंगा, है ना. तो स्टार्ट विद व्हाट इज पॉसिबल नाउ टुडे, बट व्हाट इज दैट लिमिट, टेस्ट दैट लिमिट, देन रीडिफाइन दैट लिमिट, देन टेस्ट दैट लिमिट, देन रीडिफाइन. Keep exploring yourselves on a physical level, on an intellectual level, and then keep evolving. You will reach that place. For example, it could be anything. What is the अब what is the longest distance you can run today, Swapnil?
Like without stopping, I have run for 10 kilometers.
उसको करो 20, है ना, वो करो 30, 40, 50, देखते हैं. करते करते तुम रियलाइज करोगे यार यार मैं तो कितना भी भाग सकता हूँ. You know there is a 24-hour run. You know there is a 1,000-mile race. Google these things. ये अल्ट्रा मैराथन वगैरह होते हैं. 24 घंटे में एक इंसान कितना भाग सकता है उसकी टाइमिंग ली जाती है. 24 घंटे बंदा कंटिन्यूसली भागता है ना. So these kind of human feats exist. So it is for you to explore your limits and constantly redefine it, and you till you reach a stage where you come to this understanding that there is no limit. Till such time, test your limit. Not necessarily in running. Could be in anything. That's just one of the ways. It could be, how many books can I read? I mean, meaningfully read, or what is the highest score you can achieve in a particular subject? Let's just say, or what is the most complex problem that you can solve in your chosen field? For example, what is your footwear without shoes? I'll answer that later. Swapnil, what is your discipline in the sense? What's your graduation program?
Ceramic engineering.
Huh?
Ceramic engineering.
Chemical engineering.
Ceramics.
Huh? Ceramic engineering. Oh yeah, we spoke. So in the current field of technology, ceramic engineering mein, what is the most challenging problems that the industry or the domain itself faces? Can you create solutions for it? That could be one of your limits that you can start testing. Or what is the most complex or the highly proclaimed paper written in your college? Can you write a better paper? It could be anything in your chosen field, but choose and identify your limits and constantly break those limits and redefine those limits and pursue the new limit. You will reach a stage where you will realize कि fuck it यार मैं तो कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ.
Right, sir.
2 versus foot air, both it's very contextual. Barefoot running has its own advantages, but हम आर्मी में फॉलो नहीं करते हैं बिकॉज हमारा वहाँ कंसर्न ये नहीं है कि हम होलिस्टिक हेल्थ रहें, है ना. Barefoot running में अलग अलग सेंसरी इनपुट्स मिलते हैं which is definitely beneficial, but army में the requirement of fitness is different. You should be able to perform your combat tasks efficiently. तो वहाँ पे the boots make us efficient है. एक बाइट से बचाता है, हम कांटे वोंटे के ऊपर पाँव रख के ऐसे ही चल सकते हैं. So boots makes us efficient, so we rely on extensively boots. But the flip side to that is bare feet walking or running, we are quite vulnerable. So yeah, but if you are looking at just a fitness lifestyle and as a way of life, healthy rehna, all of that, you can explore bare feet running also.
Right, sir. And one more question which I had was that, like,
Are
in
we
the
not
flyer.
getting late? Okay, I'll take last two questions, this and one more. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So before me, does anyone else has any question?
Yes, I do have. Can I ask?
Yeah,
Please go ahead.
Sir, you expressed that never give up is a quality and it's a mindset which should be developed. I totally agree for that. But
I never said never give up. No.
Okay.
You
like
are
one can achieve anything in the life what he or she thinks,
fast.
right?
That and
But
never give up is something else.
Okay, पर कुछ ऐसा अचीव करने का मन हो जिसके लिए एबिलिटीज नहीं है. रनर who lost his
Develop the
legs.
abilities.
Okay, can you repeat?
Develop that abilities, but the motivation to develop that ability will come only from the understanding of why do you want to develop that ability in the first place.
No, like the serious, like suppose there is a runner who runs very good, but in some accident he lost his legs. So what to do in that case? He lacked the motivation, and of course now he's
नहीं
not able to run.
prosthetics
So
है.
how to?
Prosthetics में लोग भागते हैं यार.
Okay, तो possible है हर केस में.
यार क्यों नहीं है?
सर फ्लैट फुट ठीक हो सकता है क्या?
या हमेशा ठीक हो सकता है. बोन मॉर्फोलॉजी चेंज हो सकती है, सब कुछ चेंज होती है. फ्लैट फुट, नॉक नीज, all these are curable. There are enough workshops on the internet. Yeah, go and Google it a little.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So one last question which I had, it's not really a question. So, like these days in our college, that is in IIT BHU, or not only in IIT BHU, but also in other IITs, we are having our intern season. That is, companies are coming for internship and people are applying for it. And plus, placement season is also approaching in 1 or 2 months. So during this time, like the pressure on students is really high. Like the uncertainty that whether they will get a job or not, or this is causing an impact on their mental health. So any advice you have for the students of IITs or other engineering college?
So if you have the abilities, be confident in that. And kya hai, each of us have possess very unique abilities. Sometimes the job role for your uniqueness does not exist. You should have that much confidence in and conviction in your abilities that you should be either a job exists for me or I will create that job. But don't force fit your personality in trying to become what that job requires. You are good at something which that job naturally requires, please take up that job. There's nothing wrong in doing a job. But if it does not, then chart your own pathways also. Have the develop the confidence to chart your own pathways. Again, that comes from your understanding of your own self, your core motivation, your core value systems. वो सब समझ में आ जाएगा तो तुम्हारे abilities पे इतनी confidence आ जाएगी कि तुम बोलोगे यार their loss, मैं अपना करूंगा ना. So that is the thing. क्या हो जाएगा यार आज के if your generation has this insecurity कि मैं place नहीं हुआ तो क्या हो जाएगा. ये सब constructed insecurities है. ठीक है. Trust me, it is stories that you tell yourself. If I don't get placed, I'm screwed. My parents will feel bad. My मोहल्ला will talk. बेटा तो IIT गया देखो placement भी नहीं हुआ. False यार. क्या हो जाएगा. You have food security today. मरोगे तो नहीं. तुम प्लेस नहीं हुए तो माँ बाप खाना तो खिला देंगे. इतनी सिक्योरिटी तो है. तुमसे हमारे पेरेंट्स के जनरेशन के पास इतनी सिक्योरिटी भी नहीं थी, है ना. तो उनको लगा अगर खाना मिल जाए तो सब लाइफ सॉर्ट हो जाएगी. तो खाना मिल गया, है ना. आज के जनरेशन तब भी सिक्योर नहीं फील कर रही है. खाना तो मिल जाएगा, रोटी कपड़ा घर पे, मतलब you won't come to the streets but you still are insecure. Let's say we achieve this also 10-20 years. Let's say we achieve कि ठीक है सबने डिग्री खत्म करने के बाद हाथ में 1 लाख रुपए दे दिए जाएंगे, है ना. काम करो नहीं करो पर everybody will get 1 लाख रुपीस in your hand. तब हम कुछ और ही नया इनसिक्योरिटीज घुसा चुके होंगे लोगों के दिमाग के अंदर कि नहीं अगर तुमने ये नहीं किया तो तुम बेकार हो. तुम बाहर का सुनते रहोगे तो इसका कोई अंत ही नहीं है. ठीक है. अगर ये नहीं किया तुम बेकार हो, है ना. IIT कर लिया, प्लेसमेंट हो गए, फिर बोलेंगे नहीं पर तुमने IIM नहीं किया, तुम बेकार हो. ठीक है. तो ये बाहरी दुनिया से अपने आप को मत जज करो, तुम अपना करो जो करना है तुम्हें. ठीक है. यू हैव इनफ सेफ्टी नेट्स generationally. The current generation has so much safety nets. On average मैं इतना तो बता सकता हूँ कि parents easily support their children till 25, and in many cases most of the parents are so well off that they can support their kid till they are 30, है ना. पर 25 तक तो हर माँ बाप अपने बच्चे को सपोर्ट कर ही लेते हैं, है ना. मैंने ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि उस पर डिपेंड हो जाओ, पर किस बात की तुम्हें डर है मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि तुम क्या चेस कर रहे हो. फालतू की चीजों तुम्हारे अंदर कहानियां पिलाई जाती है कि ये नहीं हुआ तो बस बर्बाद हो गए. 10th स्टैंडर्ड में बोला जाता है कि 10th स्टैंडर्ड का पेपर में अच्छे मार्क नहीं आया तो जिंदगी बर्बाद हो जाएगी. यही झूठ तुम एक बार यू बाइट दैट लाई वंस, दैट लाई विल कीप बाइटिंग यू फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ योर लाइफ. देन बोलेंगे 12th नहीं हुआ तो अच्छा कॉलेज नहीं मिलेगा. अच्छा कॉलेज मिल गया ठीक है, तो अच्छा पढ़ाई नहीं किया तो प्लेसमेंट नहीं होगी. प्लेसमेंट हो गया ठीक है, प्लेसमेंट होने के बाद फिर प्रमोशन नहीं हो रहा है, फिर IIM नहीं कर रहे हो, MBA नहीं कर रहे हो, फिर आगे बढ़ नहीं रहे हो, फिर शादी नहीं हो रहा, फिर बच्चे नहीं हो रहे. इसका कोई अंत ही नहीं है. ठीक है. तो ऐसे फालतू मिराज मत चूज करो. बी सेंटर्ड इन योरसेल्फ, एक्सप्रेस योर इंडिविजुअलिटी, डिस्कवर योरसेल्फ, लिव योर लाइफ ऑन योर ओन टर्म्स. ठीक है. एक्सटर्नल वैलिडेशन का कोई अंत ही नहीं.
Yes. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, sir, so much for conducting this session, answering the questions and imparting us with all the knowledge that we have gained today. I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree that we learned quite a lot today about mindset, about understanding why we have the mindset, and especially asking the question why. So I'd request Swapnil Bhaiya to present you with the e-memento as a vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on a Sunday.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, before you leave,
Thank you, sir.
can we have a screenshot of the meeting?
Yeah, sure.
I would request all the participants to switch on their camera for a while.
Swapnil Bhaiya, if you could stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, just a second. Pragati, Mithilesh, Muravat, Shiresh Bhaiya, Ishika, it would be great if you can switch on your camera. Plus, we have posted the feedback form in the chat box, so you can give your feedback regarding this workshop. It
You
would
can
help
reach
us
out to me either on my personal Insta or LinkedIn. I check DMs on both of them, or both of them are open. You can ping me on my Insta or you can ping me on my LinkedIn. But just request be a little sensitive to our time commitments as well, so that sometimes people are like, मैंने सर 4 दिन पहले मैसेज किया आपने रिप्लाई नहीं किया, काम चल रहा है, भाई करेंगे, है ना?
Yes, sir. So we have taken the screenshot. Okay, Mithilesh has joined. We will. Okay, cool. So thank you, sir, for giving your time and energy for us. It was really a great and insightful workshop.
Thank you. Guys.
And to the participants, please fill the feedback form. It would really help us. You can find the link in the chat box. It won't take more than a minute to fill.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir. Bye, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.